What's up, everybody? Good evening. Happy Friday. Happy end of the week. Happy going into the weekend. It's Friday night. Welcome to TNCradio.live, Driver Nation. I'm Steve. He's Tom. He's Gary. And we will be with you for the next 2 hours talking about all things gig related. Only it's just me, Tom, and Gary are both not here. So here's how it's going to go. Last time that they will both be back next week. Sometimes it falls that one of us is gone, or on occasion two of us are gone. So I was gone twice, and both of them had a guest with them or other things. Both times that they've been gone, it's on the same day, and I'm alone. But last time we pulled it off really good. And so here's what's going to happen this week. I'm going to run through a few things, and about 15 or 20 minutes into the first hour, I am going to be joined by somebody that most of you know. If not, you'll become familiar with her. She has created a gig worker game that is a friendly game that people can play against each other, competing using different platforms. You can set all kinds of parameters. It started off on her channel, and it has moved into an app, which if he was here, I would give him more props. I'll give him a little, though, because I like him. But Gary created, and it's iOS and it's Android. So I say that, and Gary gets a little offended because he says, I know how to do iOS. I say, I know, but I'm just proud of you because I think it's awesome that out of the gate you came out with this one on both. So I'm not going to get into it any farther because I'm going to wait for Red to join. But I'm going to talk about a few things. One of them came up today, and I said I would address it here in the beginning. And I see Cody is here. I see Josh is here. I see Holly's here. I see Monkey's here. And there's about 10 or 11 maybe others watching. I can never tell through StreamYard, you guys. It's a total joke when it's trying to keep tally on this. But so okay, let me start off with the Curry thing, you guys. So Cody, I know that you've been waiting to get on Curry. I know that Red, I know you've been waiting. I know that other people have been waiting. I can tell you guys this. Chris, Real Rideshare Stories, and Rideshare Guy, right? Show Me the Money Club, Chris. I have been really advocating to get Chris off that list. He has an SUV. He's in the Buffalo market. I've heard some of you say I've been on for 3 weeks on the waiting list. I've been on for, I've been on 3 months. I've been on a year. Chris has been on for 13 months now on the waiting list. Now we will get Chris off because Chris is a buddy of mine too. I'm working at it, you guys. So there was a time when it was a little bit easier for me to do that. But here's what I will say. We are coming into spring. And even if you live in Florida and construction's round the clock, construction is still halted a bit nationwide. Just like, I mean, I don't know how many of you are currently aware of this, but there is a supply chain issue still. I know that you were all aware of it months ago, but I know that after the holidays, it kind of died off in the news, right? Or people talking about it. It's still just as bad. Not just as bad, but pretty much. I mean, with what they did with the rails and what they've done to the 70,000 independent contractors in California who are owner-operator truck drivers, there's still a supply chain issue. John Dash Theory TV and I can attest, because he's in Phoenix, I'm in Denver. We kind of both are in the mountain region. We're actually not that far apart from each other. We're paying more for gas than the East Coast is right now. And that never happens. Even when the gas prices got way high before the new year and they were going crazy and whatnot, ours went crazy too, but we were always under the East Coast. So now we're suffering. And I've talked to a lot of East Coast people, even people on the panels and other shows I do, and they're sitting at way better gas prices than we are because we have 70,000 independent contractor truckers out of work. And not only that, if you're not a trucker, in a union, you cannot service the ports of California. You cannot service any of the 3 ports, the major one being Long Island. you can't do anything there. You can't even get on the property to take a load, even if you were hired to do it. So it's this crazy mess. It makes no sense. I won't go down that rabbit hole tonight because I don't have time here, but I felt like a little love to our trucker brothers was called for because, hey, this is a trucker radio station. And for those of you that are not aware, Driver Nation is the only 2 hours a week where Tom allows TNCradio.live, and you guys can download the app too. It's a cool app. Lots of news that's relative to us. Lots of weather updates around the country for highways and conditions and things coming, and just good banter, good shows, good podcasts, good lives. They do a lot of stuff. It's 24/7 on TNC Radio, and good music in between of all genres because it's a radio station and Tom has a license to go full blown. So he can play whatever he wants, all kinds of things. So this is the only 2 hours where we talk gig work. And the reason that we do it or started it, Tom invited me to start this show with him. The reason that we did was because, as he explained to me, and as I've learned over the past year and a half, a lot of truckers are part-time gig workers. So they, maybe they go out and do long hauls, and in between those hauls, they're home for a month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and they don't just want to sit there and do nothing, but they're also not looking to work, another job, squeeze in another trucking job, or even work like full time. They just want to have something they can work here and there. So we found that a lot of truckers in their off time like to get out of their rigs, get into their city car, whatever city they live in, and they don't mind doing some gig work. So that's why this was all started. And we're very psyched to do that because a lot of truckers have asked a lot of questions. I've mixed some trucking stuff into my channel that I found extremely interesting, like how much you can make. Do you need to take classes to get certified as a trucker? Like most of us are probably think you do. Like you need to go to either a school where the trucking company pays for the school, and then you have to work for the trucking company for a little bit, and you take a little reduction in pay, or you can pay for the school yourself, which can be $5,000 to $8,000. Or, and I'm not saying everybody should do this, if you know a trucker, they can teach you on their own, and you can go take the test and just pay to take the test. I don't know if you guys knew that. I don't know if you guys would feel comfortable with that. But if you feel very comfortable with trucks or with driving, and if you have a truck driver who is willing to teach you, who's very veteran, that I'm going to tell you honestly, after an interview I did with somebody from this station actually who drives cross country year round. So he told me like the way about having partner drivers where the things move in 24 hours. One's in the sleeper cab, one's driving, and all the different ways. And he even suggested that, like he was saying like, hey, listen, if you know somebody who's a trucker, see if they'll teach you. Because A, they'll teach you, but B, it gives them somebody to be on the road with while they're teaching you. So, yeah, what I got to say to that is if that's ever interested you, come back next week or any of the weeks Tom is here. He has a lot more information on that. I do have a handful, but and I have a video I could refer you to where I did an interview with the other guy who's also named Tom from this station, who is a trucker. So that said, yeah. So the Curry wait list. Okay. Here's what I need to tell all of you guys about the Curry wait list. The Curry wait list has grown clearly. Hopefully you guys got on it a while back. It does depend on the market. Like again, let's pick on Chris for a minute. I love Chris, but let's just pick on him. Chris is in Buffalo. Curry's in Buffalo with a couple of clients. Curry's in Denver with a lot of clients. Curry's in other cities with some, a lot, none. It depends on the market more than most apps even. Like how integrated into the city is Curry. And to that I say US Electric, Ferguson Plumbing, and clearly if you guys have watched any of my videos, Sherman-Williams Paint that's usually 90% of my Curry work right there. And they're in every market because those are all national businesses. Even Ferguson Plumbing is a national business, east to west coast. You can find them everywhere. However, other markets might have landed smaller ones and might even have a handful of them, like we're starting to get here in Denver, like little outfits that don't want to pay the rates of the big trucking companies for last mile services, but they also are aware of the junk services that like Rodeo and some of the others provide. That's why, if you guys haven't seen it, I'm going to plug it right here. I am doing a new show. The second episode was it was Wednesday. It's Friday now. But that's only the second episode of The Last Mile. And that is going to be covering even VHO and Amazon Flex and some of that, like drivers. I'm going to have drivers on from those platforms, but as well as it's really going to focus on a lot of Curry. And I'm going to be having some Curry upper echelon people come on and join us. And it's like when I have the engineer for the app on, which I'm looking forward to that episode. He will be on for the first 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll roll into the normal episode. But I'm going to be having some of them. But we're going to talk to Freight. We're going to talk to Mothership. We're going to talk to I don't have them in front of me. Bungie, Dispatch. There's about guys. I say this. There's about 20 apps that I know of, and then there is unlimited websites for last mile services, especially if you include medical services. So medical and just website work. And here's why I got confused in the beginning, but here's why. The with the medical, it's a whole different scene. I haven't crossed that barrier yet, but with the websites that offer these services, some of them operate a little different. They're more just kind of like, this doesn't seem right, and you kind of got to feel it out for yourself. But I can plug you guys into some good ones because I've actually met with some of the CEOs and people who run a couple of these. And to be honest, I've asked them, why don't you have an app? And they said, because we don't want app drivers. I said, so you wouldn't take an app driver? And they said, no. We would take an app driver, but we don't want to have an app where when you search for Curry or Freight or whatever, we're coming up. We don't want to come up that way. We want people to do a little searching, read a little bit on the website, even if it's like 2 paragraphs just about what we do. And then if you're interested, apply. And then it's kind of like job boards in there. And I can plug you guys into some ones that actually work and have good work. There's some that I haven't tried yet, and there's some that I have been told are just not worth the time. So that doesn't mean I won't look into them. And in fact, I'm going to start inviting people from all of these apps, CEOs, people from the technology side of thing or logistics. Any of them are always welcome on this show. I'm going to try and have like one every other week, maybe, to start the Last Mile show. But yeah, so that's how it is. We're in springtime. Chris is still waiting. Buffalo is a decent market, but it needs to pick it up a bit. But here's the thing, guys. I know of one more national client that Curry has picked up. I cannot say, but I also know of a lot. They're picking up a lot of clients here and there. So, but there's one national one too. So we're now in spring. Construction picks up huge, and I would say like during early April, mid-April, to coming into May, there's going to be a lot of onboarding. So if you have been on the waiting list, and I was trying to think of this before I went live today. So the one caveat I would put on it is if you've been on the wait list for more than a month, okay, if you haven't been on the wait list for a month, don't bother them. You're going to have to pay some dues, or get a bigger car. And before I move on, if you have a car and you do something like get a cargo van, make sure you change it in the app, of course, but contact support and let them know. I dealt with Alice from Curry on this. Her and I had lunch a few weeks back, and I was talking to her, and I told her, and I asked her, listen, multiple cars, I know, not okay. But when you take a car and you switch it out for a cargo van or a truck or something bigger than you might have, let's say you have a Prius, does that switch automatically let the database know that you've switched it? And she said she didn't know. And I think she looked into it and found because Gig Geezer had switched his vehicle from his F-150 to his cargo van, but he switched it in the app. He did it correctly, but he didn't notify the team, and he wouldn't have known to. So she looked into it, and we had him activated in his market. I won't give it away. Some of you guys might know, but in his market, he was told he's on a waiting list because he got the cargo van and he switched. He's like, nothing happened. I told him that shouldn't have happened. So I got with Alice, and she got him moved off the next day because he had a cargo van. Cargo van's pretty much, you're just going to walk right on. Even like some bigger, older vans and stuff might do that. Minivans might help. Minivans, SUVs, pickup trucks, all that's great. But then some of you ask, well, what about those of us in cars? If you've watched any of the stuff I've done with Curry, you guys know my good friend Dana in Boston, he drives a Prius. He's been doing Curry as long as me, 2 years. And he gets tons of orders, even does a lot of the paint ones. So you guys, there's no car size that puts you out of the game. But what I will say is, email drivers@curry.com maybe at the end of the first week of April, and just let them know how long you've been on the wait list. And don't, obviously, clearly, I'll leave it up to you guys how you want to word it. But my suggestion would just be to keep it simple and nice. Like, hey guys, I would really love to be on the platform of, I think I signed up in, June last summer. What's the outlook on me getting on this app this summer? Something clever, short, keep it to the point. Sincerely, Steve. Leave it at that, and email it off, because they want to know that people are still interested too. But I'm going to find a way to make a list too, or a place where we can all go. If you're on the waiting list, go list. If you're willing to put it down, where you can, all you have to put is your name, your first name. Because I guess first name would be enough. Just to be careful, and just to make sure that you guys know it's not for data reasons. But first name, the major market you're near, and or the market that is not even major, but the market you'd be preferring to drive in that's closest to you. And then as well, are you driving? I mean, we could keep it simple too. Are you driving a pickup truck or larger? Are you driving a cargo van or larger? Or are you driving a minivan SUV? Or are you just driving a standard vehicle? And if you put standard vehicle, they'll take it, and we'll deal with it from there. I will try and help, and at least if I don't know what kind of push I can give, I'll wait till mid-April to kind of feel that out. But I can at least find out where you're positioned. And if you haven't signed up for Curry yet, please do use my link, because I don't get any money for that. I've done a lot of work with Curry, but that's not an affiliate link that pays me. It's just a tracking link for when we were doing stuff back when, but it actually allows me to help track where you are in line. So I can say, that's kind of the question they ask me when I contact the team. Did they use your link? And if you did, I can say, yeah. And then they look at your name, they're like, oh, he's XX back. I don't know what they do behind the scenes. Are they moving you up in front? I know that they have a few times, but I don't know. I don't know I cannot speak for the system, because if I speak about the system, it's like Fight Club, might go away. I don't know. So there's that. The last thing I want to talk about, and then Red, if you're in here, I'll invite you to come backstage, and I will. You know what? Before I do that, I want to play this one time, and at the end of this show tonight, you guys, I'm going to play the full, I think it's 4 minutes or something, version of the video that gives an example of how this show is going to go. So I'll be back in 17 seconds. Let's check this out. Zach's pretty good at editing, huh? Oh, okay. So here's one thing I really wanted to tell you guys about, though. When we do TNCradio.live, it is being simulcast on TNCradio.live, which is a radio station that streams to truckers and whoever else is listening across the country. So it's covering interstate commerce of trucking and a handful of other things too. But yeah, so when you guys want to join, so I had people I heard in some chat earlier, well, you can join and be working, or you can join through the StreamYard link. And it was actually in Red's chat, and then Red said, yeah, but I would rather focus and be in it. So to be honest, I agree with Red. If we're going to sit down like we are tonight and actually talk about something for a bit, that is probably the best move. If you do, it is totally fine if you join by just calling the phone number. If you're out working, here's all I ask, and I don't think that we talk about it enough. All I ask, and all that we ask here, is that you just mute your mic unless you're talking. So if you're working and you're calling in on the phone line and you're working, only unmute it when you're going to talk, because so many times people are leaving them on, and if we have two guests leaving them on, it's just we get a lot of like weird noises. And so it's just trying to get it organized. It's nothing against anybody, but if you're out working, just keep it muted, and then whenever you want to talk, unmute it and jump in. That's fine. That's how this conversation goes. So we do love people to call in. Just please make sure you mute the mic when you do that. Otherwise, we encourage everybody in the gig economy to call in or join the stream. Usually don't put the stream link out until the second hour. At the top of the hour, I usually post it into the chat, and you guys can join that way, or else we always scroll the number at the bottom. But since Tom isn't here this week, I'm not turning on the boards at TNC and opening up the phone lines, because Tom and I never went over, not the board part, I get that, but Tom and I never went over how we would forward some lines. So yeah, so that's not on tonight, but normally we would have the phone number scrolling across the bottom. You guys could just call in, old school dial call, no FaceTime, no nothing, you're just calling in. But yeah, so you guys, I'm gonna ask Red to come and join, and as soon as I see her backstage, I'm gonna play a very short promo for what she's been up to, and then when we come back, it will be Red and I, and we will go over this app a little bit. So yeah, I hope everybody, if you didn't catch by the way, if you didn't catch the piece on the round table last night, I do want to talk to you guys. I don't know, maybe next Friday, but I'm sure before then too, we'll be talking about it. But there's a bill in Connecticut, and you guys can look this up. Connecticut is pushing for $36 an hour for all gig workers on active time and $1.30 a mile. This is the most unsustainable, biggest joke I've ever heard. It will never last. It's in Connecticut, and I'm not picking on Connecticut when I say I'm almost glad this happened, because as Tom and I talk about often here on this show, we almost need a state to do this and go this far and actually watch the gig apps leave, because a lot of people are still they still question the California decision and say, yeah, they wouldn't really have left if you would have just stuck to your guns, California. And to that I say, man, I was around for all that, and that's BS. They went down to the wire, and they were turning it off at midnight. Rideshare was being turned off at midnight. Why do you think the state turned it back on? It wasn't just to let Prop 22 be a bill. It was because they knew that this was going to affect commerce of getting people to and from work in LA, San Francisco, and around other parts of the state. So they were not in a position to tell these ride companies that. So here's my thing. If you're going to be a state and go too far like this, be careful what you're asking, because you're trying to make everybody an employee. That's what this is with union. And these gig apps, don't think that they'll just bend and figure it out. They can figure out some things, but they're not going to figure out a W-2 model. So with that said, I'm going to run this quick thing. When I come back, I will have Red with me, and we'll jump in.
GZ16 going crazy.
DJ, this a hit.
Hi, Red. How are you?
I'm well, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining tonight. Both my other people ducked out of me, which is the second time they've done it on the same week.
I know.
You
one
know,
of them is on
it's one thing when one of us is missing, but this is twice they've dumped out on me and left me alone. But I say the show must go on. I make it go on anyway. So.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, and I'm stoked about this because hey Tim, what's up? I just saw that you're in there. Hey, what's up? Driving with Chris. I'll go through the comments here in a little bit, guys, but I want to jump in with Red here and say I remember when you okay. I'm going to give my quick bullet point, and then we'll let Red kind of re-dissect what I speak of here.
Okay.
But Gig Wars kind of started on your channel when it was your name, Red.
Yes.
Red, that was the channel's name too.
Rolling with Red, yes.
Yeah. So then Red's channel became the Gig Wars channel, Gig Wars Official, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then and I believe there's another channel that runs, is it 24/7? That is like the scoreboard and for chat and
yes. So it's not a separate channel. It's
it's
on
the same. Okay.
Official.
I got you.
Yeah, it's called the Pit Stop, and that does run 24 hours a day.
Okay.
And that is designed to be, as we grow, to be like the hub where players and viewers can hang out and always have access to communicate with each other because, some of us are on the East Coast, some of us are hours behind on the West Coast. And it's designed to be a fun hangout spot where players can, make bets on, not real bets, but like, hey, I'm rooting for this person, I'm rooting for that person. Hey, I want to start a war. Does anybody who's interested? These types of things.
So that's what I got. So that's one of the things that, and also we got to shout out thanks to Gary Zapps, but we'll get to that point because I'm still in the earlier stages at this point of talking about this. But so we got some unpacking to do here. So let's start from the beginning. So I've been seeing people challenge other people just on their own for over a year. But you really don't hear about it. It was like, hey, I'll challenge you, and they'd challenge each other, and then you might hear about it. Or you might be in the lounge with Flex, and you might hear about what happened with that. But there was nothing really bringing it all together and letting everybody get involved if they wanted to. So even before the app, what made you say, okay, let's take my channel and let's turn it into this thing?
So it didn't happen overnight. I really enjoyed, first I started off live streaming my daily ride-alongs, and I really enjoyed it because then I was no longer alone in my car. I had friends with me, right? And my competitive nature, I was like, I want to challenge somebody.
Right.
So I had a conversation with Trader, who said, yes, Red, I will, but sometime into 2023. I had this conversation with Trader in October. Okay. Well, I didn't want to wait. And then I challenged Cherry, and he said, no, I'm not going to do it. And I was like, well, who can I challenge? So I challenged Bobby, and Bobby agreed, and we had a blast. And people were interested. They liked it. And I said, well, I'm going to do this again. And so I went to Las Vegas to visit my daughter. And when I came back, it was really just going to be Nomadic Gigacon Mom and I were going to do it. And it turned into the two of us going to do it to 6 people. and everybody was interested. We had a fantastic time.
So
And
just to clarify, though, this was still when it wasn't, I want to just war with this person. This was like everybody had to be in the same one.
Yes.
At that time.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because it was still like trial and error. And now my concept, even with the first one, was like, if this works, I want it to grow. So my mind was always like, how can it get better? Because it's not going to be great the first time around. So I'm going to say the first 4 wars really were trial and error. What's wrong with it? What's not wrong with it? How do we make things better? How do we get people interested? And it just kept growing and growing to the point that I was like, okay, this is what my channel is going to be. Because I enjoy it. My channel should be about what I enjoy.
Yeah.
So I changed the handle because I still wanted, when I went to other people's chats and left comments, I wanted them to know who I was still.
Right. Yeah.
And then I was just like, nah, I just need to brand this completely. And that's how the transition went from Rolling with Red to Gig Wars Official.
Yeah. And so at that point, there was another leap made. I remember being in your chat one time when Driver Sensei is a good friend of mine, when Sensei was in one of the battles. And I remember that I was getting involved from the chat end of it, because you guys were actually starting to broach the idea of an app, or how do we take this to the next level?
Yes.
And that conversation was going on while you guys were all competing. And I remember that. And it wasn't far behind that when all of a sudden there Gary was doing Gary stuff and making apps. And
so I'll tell you how that happened. So yes, Sensei was because first of all, I adore him.
Yeah.
Just he's a wonderful, wonderful person.
Oh, 100%.
And outside of that, he is smart as hell.
Yeah, and he's good with game show stuff. When he used to have his old channel, that I used to be on those all the time. So I was like always having fun just watching him set these just random game show type things up. So it was really always creative, always fun. So
and my channel was still Rolling with Red at the time. Because Sensei was a big part in me making the change. With his information and his guidance from his own experience and just his knowledge base. So where was I going with this?
Gary.
Yeah. So yes, you're right. You were there on a conversation where Sensei was giving me guidance on it, and we talked about the name change, and that it was a good time to do it because my channel is still small, and to trademark it. And right around that time, Lady Enigma started hanging out in my channel. So she's an app developer who developed the Dash Track app to help you keep track of where you are in your Rolling 100. I actually knew Lady I met her last August. We were both members in Sin City's Discord. And so I knew that she was going to be working on something, to help keep track of your Rolling 100. And then she and I kind of lost touch because when the Diamond Zone hit my market, I lost my mind. And I was like, I'm done with Top Dasher. I'm done with keeping track of where I am. I don't care. And then she showed up in my chat one day. And I just threw it out to her. And I'm like, hey, lady, can you make me an app? And she was like, yeah, I can. And I was like, damn.
Yeah, which I love the next phase of this story, because she ended up doing the Android side and Gary ended up doing the iOS. And knowing Gary as long as I have, I loved that. I loved it.
So, she and I are working behind the scenes, and she's, asking, hey, Red, what you want going on with it? Blah, blah, blah. What color scheme? And then one day Gary shows up in my chat. And I knew who Gary was. I had never had any interaction with him. Didn't even know that he knew who I was, or anything about Gig Wars. But there he was hanging out. And he said, hey, Red, I can, I got a couple of ideas here. Can we talk? I said, yeah, absolutely. So we connected on Discord, exchanged numbers. We had probably a 2-hour conversation on a Monday night that it's either 3 weeks ago, this Monday coming, or 4. I don't know. He worked so fast. And he told me his ideas. And I was like, okay, welcome to the team. And here we are now with 2 apps. Well, 1 app in 2 versions, which I never thought initially that we'd be anywhere even talking about iOS. But here we are.
But I'm so glad you did, because, I mean, launching on, I can just state a very basic stat, which is, whether people like it or not, I know some people love Android, but 25% of phone users in the country are Android. 75% are iPhone. iOS is very important.
Yeah, it is. It is. And Lady and I, we talked about iOS, but she's Android. And she was eventually going to get there, but we didn't know when. But we always knew that it was a must. And when Gary hopped in and was like, hi, I'm here. I can help you right now. Yeah. It was a game changer. Yeah. And just outside of him being able to do the iOS, just his thoughts and his ideas and his designs it's taken it from what would have taken she and I, a long time to do. He's escalated it and just made it go. He's made it grow a lot faster than I anticipated. So sometimes I'm just in a whirlwind about it. Like, I can't even believe where we are, and we are like beta testing this app. It's amazing. So, okay. So if I download the app and which, by the way, guys, you can go to, I texted Gary before the show to make sure that he wanted me saying it the right way, because we can send you 100 links that all get you to the same place. But I said, man, every time I put it in, other people are putting other links. I said, am I supposed to just put Gary's apps? He said 100%. So Gary'sApps.com. You'll see all of the Middleton apps. It's the 4th one down. Go down to the bottom. You'll see Gig Wars. I have the link right here. Yep. So I'll pop in. And this is link. Yep, that's the link to this is the Middleton Tech one, but same thing. Gary's apps will also take you to, so see how it says Middleton Tech /Gig Wars. I guess that might be its own page, but MiddletonTech.com /apps will take you to it. Gary'sApps.com will take you to it. There's a lot of ways to get to this thing. Yeah, so I guess one thing that I found pretty cool is that right out of the gate, I was looking, and like you said, like it's pretty far for a beta mode thing. Like you can do one-on-one challenges, you can do multi-challenges, you can set the parameters of who you're challenging, you can send it to them, they can deny it, or I think you can make it public or private. I think that there's a lot of different things that you can do. Now I know that somebody had said to me that maybe it was Josh had said that he wanted to challenge Lisa, but Lisa wouldn't let him use Curry. Now I know there's another button in there. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I guess if you set that in the no Curry, but I would expect that for most of these wars, you don't want people saying, hey, you can't use this app. Because the whole point is it's a war. You're allowed to use your arsenal. Well, right. But you want the war to be fair. So Typically, the way we have done it is that the cash apps, cash tips do not count because we can't prove that. Because
Right.
I can come and tell you, oh, I got $5,000 cash tip.
Right.
But the creator of the war is the one who sets the rules. So, like, if you only have DoorDash, you don't want to have a war with somebody who has curry, deliver that.
Right.
You know,
well,
the app has every single big app out there. And then we have the other button to incorporate, for anything that might be coming up in the future. Although I'm not sure if curry is listed or not. There's like 9 of them.
yeah.
What is Josh saying? That he and I did a challenge last week. Yeah. So we said no curry because I don't have curry, so it wouldn't be a fair war.
Right. Well, I mean, again, market to market, it could be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because some markets might not pay as well as mine for curry, and it might be taking up a big portion of your day to make a decent amount. By that time, other people might have made that much. I guess it just depends, really.
So
you don't want to have somebody have a flatbed or a cargo van and
Right.
get on and have a curry war and just destroy somebody with a car.
Right. So the current war that's going on was created by Ron B. So the name of the war is Rumble with Ron B. He left it open. He has no rules. He says use any app you want, work any hours you want.
Okay.
The war is Monday, so 12:01 a.m. through Sunday, 11:59 p.m. So if you receive an order at 11:59 and 22 seconds, those earnings will count. After that, you're done.
Okay, so and then I was seeing Tim Gigwise here was saying like he was talking about mile tracking, but I was even wondering like I think I even had maybe mentioned this in the chat, but one thing I thought, and maybe it doesn't need to be in every gig war, but like in any way is like mileage, because here's where the curry people might see something different. Are they having to put in gas expense? Are we dealing with any of that kind of stuff that actually would impact your earnings?
So at this point, no, it's not in the app. Okay. However, we have conversations, like we know the data that we want to have in the app.
Right.
And it's a process. So we will be adding as time goes on, and hopefully, I mean, as fast as Gary has worked, I wouldn't anticipate that it will really be that much longer. We will be adding profile pages so that people can identify the state in which they live in, the type of vehicle they drive, whether it's a van, an SUV, a regular car, or even a hybrid, so that like, for example, van drivers can identify another van driver in the app and challenge drivers. We do have mileage in there now. It is the cumulative mileage, but it will be broken down to individuals. As well as we can add a feature so that people can also input what their gas expenses are.
No, I know these challenges, like one of them is, like you just said, is basically, hey, just the whole week you can work whenever you want. Okay, there's a pretty open challenge, but I've seen like you've got the 7 to 7 ones. In there, are you guys like, even at the end when you post the earnings and you say, okay, this person won, are you showing, so here was his active time, here was his online time too, just so people get an idea?
At this point within the app, no, that information is not in there. That will be something as we go on, like another portion that we will add.
Yeah, because I'm just, like, I'm not talking Bud Soda hours. I'm not talking about working 1,000
Right.
hours a week. I'm talking about like, it at least would, like, if I was challenging you and you beat me, but then I saw, wow, okay, my, like, I only spent 30 hours on the app. You spent 50, and you spent 40 active. I spent 30. Might make me up my game the next time.
Right. Yeah. So we are definitely adding all those things you're talking about into future updates. It'll, like, one thing at a time,
No, I get it, and that's one of the things I was wondering is, what do you have a user count yet? Like, how many people are doing this, or even a ballpark something of?
Yeah, let me look, because new people join every day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So right now there are 40 accounts in here. Some of them
Okay.
are dummy accounts. They're like test user,
Oh, okay.
scoreboard. So I would say that there are 35 active accounts in here. So,
But the app's only been out for
1 week.
1 week. I mean, so that's pretty good legs for an
Yeah.
app launching and getting people from your site to say, yeah, I'll download that.
Yeah,
Because first of all, again, you used the word beta, which Gary and I always joke about, because Gary and I always say beta means I'm not liable if anything happens to your stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like Tesla beta. Like Tony, the driven dad, lives here in Colorado by me, and Lisa, his wife, drives a Tesla. She drives the full autonomous beta. And what that means is if that autonomous crashes, it's on you. Because they use the word beta. So that word seems to get you out of a lot. So I'm saying, for it being in a beta mode and only like grassroots promoting, that's pretty good.
I think
for a
so
week,
too.
yeah, that's pretty good to get that many active users. And like right now, how many different wars are going on?
There's one war going on right now. I understand that another war will be created.
I even meant littler wars, like one-on-ones, or are those not really happening yet?
That hasn't happened yet. No, that has not happened yet. I would love to have seen that, but we do just have, minimal users right now.
I tentatively challenged Kim, who hates Instacart as much as me, to a gig war. We would use your app,
right?
Because both of us hate it, and both of us see nothing but junk orders. So we wouldn't spend a whole week doing it, but we're both like, we both are competitive, so we would both be like at each other, like, oh, she took another one. I gotta take one. I know, but we were just going to do it for fun, just to show everybody also how crappy all these people who tell us, no, it's not that bad. Again, market to market, guys. I wouldn't tell you it's that bad in my market if it wasn't.
Right.
That's why I have other good apps. But like Kim and I have been challenged by a lot of people. Why don't you guys at least do it and show us? And so we thought maybe we could do it. I said it to her, and she said, I'll do that. So who knows? We might do something along those lines. I don't know how many hours we'd put into it, but I think it'd be more like once I saw her go above me, I would try and get one and go above her.
Well, and that's the fun thing about this, is that you find yourself taking some orders that you wouldn't normally maybe take. I mean, you're never going to take like a really ridiculously bad order, but like if I'm in a war and I need a couple more dollars, I will take $5.25 going 1.2 miles. On a normal day, I might not do it. And it's not that bad if I know the restaurant and it's going to be easy breezy.
Right. It doesn't feel the same as if you didn't have the gig war.
Right.
Even if you did take it, and then you'd still be like, that sucked. But now you're being like, it's not that bad. Okay, that helped. I get it. And I think that's as long as you don't go overboard with the hours to the point where you're getting tired and sleepy. And, I mean, I know we all say that, but I truly, I mean this. Like, everybody needs to know themselves. their limits. And then there's a certain point where I don't care how Superman you are, like you just shouldn't push that threshold.
Right.
But I would
Yeah.
imagine this would get people to, like, if they're feeling bad about a week or something and they're really invested in the war, even though it's not for money, it's just for fun. It kind of just adds a new flavor to the gig economy, and it might make me get out and go, you know what, fine, I'll go work 3 hours, even though it's going to suck, and maybe it won't suck.
Well, I got to tell you, so we had the very first beta test war was everybody on the team. And we worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we live streamed it. And that's another thing, too, when you live stream it and you're all hanging out together. It was fun. We support each other through the crap orders. We celebrate everybody's wins and successes. And it was a blast. None of us felt like we really worked, even though you look at that app and you look at our money and we worked.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember seeing some of the other challenges where even at the end, you'd see the total of everybody's earnings.
Mm-hmm.
That was always, I liked seeing that number too. Even though really that number shouldn't mean anything to me. I just liked seeing that big of a number for a week. Okay, that's not related to anybody, but that's cool.
By the end of the 4th episode, so that would have been the episode that Token and Sly and Talahustle were in. I think the cumulative earnings were in excess of $31,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
With how many drivers?
That war had 4 drivers. So we're talking about, that's every war. That's the very first war, which was Bobby and I, which was a 4-day war, and I had a terrible week, terrible 4 days. So the earnings in that war were not good. War 2, which is the war Sensei was in, there were 6 of us. Necro won that at $1,900. The third war is the one Pedro was in. I believe we were just under $12,000 for the week.
Did Pedro win?
Pedro did not win.
Okay, good, because I would have said he cheated. Just kidding, Pedro. And no, you would never cheat.
Pedro came in second place. He only worked five days.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 really long days.
Yeah.
And he did make $2,000. There were a lot of skeptics about whether or not he was being for real. And I can tell you that his earnings were, he verified them.
Even if he, I don't know how other people feel, but even if he didn't, I happen to know Pedro well enough, or at least myself, I wouldn't even need him to verify it. I trust him.
No, and he did it on his own because of what was saying, but I saw several comments out there, so I just want to put it out there. The man made $2,000 in 5 days.
Yeah, to anybody who questions that, that's not abnormal for Pedro.
Yeah.
So, that's, it is what it is, but.
And then after him was the war the Token was in, then our war, the developers. And so it's probably now, I don't know, because we've changed the scoreboard. I'm going to say we have to be over $50,000. And
okay.
Some data that I would like to track is not just that, but cumulative miles, which we are tracking. I want to keep going with that, and the amount of deliveries, because a year from now, like at the end of the year, I'd like to say, like, how many people we collectively have serviced, like how many orders have we dropped off, and how many times have we driven around the world? Not that it's, really important data. It's just interesting.
It's just interesting. Yeah, exactly.
Like if
I would think that Gary could bring over mileage tracking pretty easy from the other apps.
Yeah, he's going to do that.
Yeah. He's got that in every one, so that's a pretty easy no-brainer. I hope that you guys get to a point where, maybe it's even like prizes or something, so it's not cash at first, so you're not like crossing any kind of monetary lines, but maybe like I'll compare it to March Madness, like a bracket. Who can get their way to the middle first, and what's that prize?
So as far as that goes, so we can't do anything like that in the app because that's a totally different, now we're gambling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Completely different laws, different states. Like we just can't do that. But if you and your 5 friends want to have a war and you each put up $100 and whoever wins gets that pot, I
Sure.
mean
Yeah.
that's on you. Now I can tell you this, that so I also have designed some merchandise. Um, I think it's pretty cool. Gary is completely in love with one of the designs, but I made a design that is not available to the public. It is it's a design, so it'll be a t-shirt. So for winners of official wars. So if you win an official war, the only other people that have the same shirt you have are those who have also won that war. It does say Gig Wars certified, and it
Does it
has
just say winner on the front?
no, it doesn't say winner. I actually forget right now what it says. I forget. It's got flags, and it might say winner, and then says Gig Wars official 2023.
Yeah.
And the back of it does have like a license plate. In fact, I used I used it as for a thumbnail once. It's pretty cool. It's like a license plate, and it says Gig Wars certified. So let's say we had 2 official wars a month. I mean, at the end of the year, there's only going to be 20 other people in the country that have that same shirt. So that's one cool thing that we are going to be able to offer. As time goes by, we'll think, oh, also, I'm sorry, winners of official wars will receive 3 months free of Ladies app, which is Dash Track. So I think she charges $8 a month. So that's a $25 value. And they also get 1 month free of either Maximo or the Da app, whatever their choice
Okay,
is.
nice.
Will do for them.
Yeah.
So let's say you and your friends start a war. If a Gig Wars official team member decides to join your war is now official, and the winner will receive that product. So we could hop into any war going on. So that's another fun thing too. I would think that people eventually be like, oh my God, I hope that Gig Wars official joins our war.
Yeah. I was even talking about I could hook you up with like Abdul, who owns Display Ride. And he might be into if you would put a little thing up, a tag to give somebody, because he gives out the free dash cam and it's all uploaded to a cloud. He might give you a year's worth of free service.
That would be cool.
That's pretty cool, right? Because I have 2 dash cams. I have one that's an SD card. If somebody grabs it and runs, I'm screwed. They just took my SD card too, and it doesn't upload to the cloud. But that one, if they grab that one, it even runs for 2 minutes once it's unplugged. So most likely I'll even know which direction they went.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I would love that. So I appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
But you just triggered my thoughts on. So right now I'm really small. So obviously I'm small.
Right.
I have 300 subscribers only, and the app is not at a beta. Once we're at a beta and I have a bigger audience, I fully intend to go to companies who would cater to drivers that are nationwide so that everybody can get it, like an oil change place. I don't know. I'll talk to Gary about which one would be best. A national tire place.
I mean, everybody uses the Get Upside app, but maybe you could contact Get Upside, tell them what you're doing, see if they could give you a better offer.
Yeah, because I would like them to. So I would ask them. I would be like, "Hey, I have a YouTube channel. My audience is drivers. They need these things. They need these things often. Would you give them a discount?"
Right.
a 5%, 10%, I don't know, whatever you can do. And so that would be in the app. So you would have to be an app. You'd have to have the app, either the free or the premium version. I mean,
Hey, if you get people from everywhere in the country going,
yeah,
like I'll hook you up with a tire company.
okay,
I mean, honestly, who might give 25% off a set of tires.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
would love that.
and we all know that's a huge amount of money. If you go drop $1,000 on a set of tires, that's $250. It's a lot of money.
Who was it? Somebody just did their tires. Somebody, maybe it was Tim, and just did. Yeah, $965. I think the bill was. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tim was also just talking about his market. His market's strong. And it is St. Louis. That's another reason why I know Pedro does well too. Not just because I know him, but because I know St. Louis. I know other people there too, who just do pretty amazing. Actually, that market's very good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think there's a lot of potential for all kinds of stuff that you could be doing with other people, and not monetary stuff at first, just straight up giveaway stuff.
Yeah.
Or whatever, because a lot of these companies just like to get their brand out there. When they hear that, wait, you have people challenging each other just in Philly? No, it's the whole country. Wait a minute. Now it becomes a different thing to them. Now it's like, wait, you'll wear a solo shirt in your area? Well, we'll send you one.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be a lot of ways to just, I think that once you're national, and you're almost like kicking this off and going national immediately, which is just the best way to do it, in my opinion. Because because it's just automatic. We have a community that, I will say, most of it, I always tell people, when I tell people most of our communities on the East Coast, they do say, well, there's gig workers everywhere. I'm like, okay, guys, 80% of the population in this country lives on the East Coast. So just by stats alone, I mean, everybody like Midwest, Michigan, on the line and over to the east, that's 80% of our population. The other 20% lives in 80% of the rest of the country.
Yeah.
So it's kind of strange how that works, but there is a lot more East Coast people.
Yeah. And there's gig workers outside of the United States. So of course, Gary, they have their hands full right now.
Yeah.
But my next rollout, I want a version with English speaking first, because that's the way the app is now, but change the, Canadian currency, UK currency, Australian currency.
My guess is immediately Gary would tell you the strongest market to go to next, because we talk about all the world markets. Everybody thinks the UK. Okay, well, it must be the UK. Let's go there. Or it must be Canada. I bet you, my bet will be that Gary will tell you Australia.
Yeah.
He has some good ties there, and there's a lot of gig workers in Australia. So I would think that'd be a great market for you guys too.
So first of all, I would like to cover the English-speaking countries, because that will be the easiest for us. Mm-hmm. Just change currency and, miles to kilometers.
Right.
And then after that, we'll change it to other languages.
And that's a pretty simple fix. It's not like you have to speak the language.
Right.
But I mean, obviously you have to have somebody that can say, hey, they're talking about some really nasty stuff over there.
Right.
Like we should be kind of watching what they're talking about, because you never know what kind of people might come into this and be talking in a language that nobody knows on the team. So I think it's important that at least somebody familiar with many languages, even if they're just overviewing what you're doing, once you do go to multiple languages, would be good. Somebody who kind of understands just the basics of a lot of languages and could say, no, they're talking about some stuff they shouldn't be talking about online. Yeah. Because I would hate to see your channel get in trouble, Well, and you don't know what's being said.
Right.
Right.
And that too, well, I was thinking the app, but you're right. They would eventually come to the channel.
Oh, 100%. They won't just stop at the app and go, wait a minute.
Right, because there's a
They would
language.
go, who owns this app? Where did it start? We need to talk to this person.
Right.
So, I mean, you gotta realize. I guess I'm jumping big ahead because I always think big too. But I'm just saying, like, you don't want to. I always tell people you don't want to be hit with big. You want to be ready for big because it'll
Right.
still be too big. It'll still
Right.
be too much to handle. But if you're ready and open to accept a lot of changes and how quick it could grow, it'll make it a lot easier when you need to make some tough decisions. Like, well, can we integrate Spanish? Sure. But instead you might want to go, well, wait a minute. Do we have somebody very fluent in Spanish who's going to overwatch these?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think
I
that
can
you're
barely
good to
speak
stick with English. And I think also you're just good to stick in the United States right now. I think there's a lot to be had
Right.
here alone. So that's
Right. It needs to be perfect here.
Yeah.
Or as close to perfect as, because nothing is perfect, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the next rollout is other English speaking countries.
Well, I love the idea. I love that you're doing this. I think it's awesome. I think I will challenge Kim to one because I haven't downloaded it yet, and again, I know Gary wants me to, and since it's iOS, I'm gonna. So,
And you guys should stream what you're doing, and you can
we will.
You can.
I don't know if we'll do it the whole time or whatever, but maybe
Yeah.
near the end we'll kind of.
You could hop up in the pit stop if you want, stream it on your channel. Speaking of that too, I just want to say, for content creators, right? So what they have done on the back end is that nobody would be able to use the words gig wars or official in their ID. For you guys, like you, right? When you download the app, and I don't know how it will work, that'll be a Gary thing on the back end and a lady thing, depending upon which version you download. We will verify you, right? And give you either a check mark or something so that people know that this is the actual Rideshare Rodeo, and nobody else will be able to have Rideshare Rodeo as a name.
Right.
And then also the channel will, any content creator who is verified will then they will also be added to the channel's page under the featured section.
Okay.
As again, it doesn't really matter right now.
That's a good point. Speaking of that, are you watching out for somebody like, whether it be Rideshare Rodeo or somebody else like that might come and try and grab that name before I do?
If they would do that, okay, if we saw Rideshare Rodeo in here, I don't know who would see it first, but we know how to reach you.
Right.
One of us would say, hey, is this you?
Right.
And you would say yes, and then we would lock it down.
Right.
So that somebody can't even come along and be like, I'm Rideshare Rodeo.
Right.
2. There just will be no Rideshare Rodeo.
Right. No, because I think that's, I mean, I'm asking because I think I've talked about this kind of thing with Gary before, and I'm wondering if he could just mute out the names of people until they took them. But I don't know how that would actually work. Like if he could make it so that until the real person took it and verified it.
Well, I think the difficulty with that would be we don't really know who.
Yeah, I guess there's so many. Yeah, YouTube's got so many channels.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's YouTubers out there, I don't even know what their name is, but
right.
They might find out and come join or try to join, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. So you guys, we're at the top of the hour. I'm going to invite Red to stay if she wants. I'm going to put the link out for anybody else that wants to join in the second hour. We're going to talk about some stuff, some other stuff too. But and I'll get to the chat coming out. But we're going to have about 2.5, 3 minutes of different commercials here. If Tom and Gary were here, we're doing a new thing where when the radio side goes to commercial, we're doing commercials on here. So I know, Red, you got me one, and some other people have, but like Holly just came in. Holly, if you make a video for the Tuesday dumpling thing that we're doing, I'll run that too. So it's kind of like I'm taking advantage of those radio spots, because we used to have conversation during the radio breaks, and then the radio would come back and they'd be like, what are you guys talking about? It's like coming in the middle of a conversation. And they're like, wait, we just got cut off from all that. So, it's I'm trying to take advantage of that. And when Tom says, hey, we got to go to commercial break, that's when I'm going to be on here saying, okay, and I'm going to be running commercials. And Tom eventually will be running some simultaneous commercials for some of these as well. So, but yeah, Red, if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to. I'll leave it up to you if you're here when this 3-minute break is done. Okay. So you guys, I'm going to play a few things here. Okay. And we'll be right back.
Going crazy.
DJ, this a hit.
Are you a DoorDash delivery driver? Would you like to be safer and less stressed while driving and earn more at the same time? The Driver's Utility Helper app allows you to do just that. Create custom filters, and its automated system does the work for you, automatically declining unwanted, low-paying requests and accepting more profitable requests so you can focus on driving. Visit acceptordecline.com to get started today.
Hey, Houston professional drivers. TNCradio.live keeps you on track to make more money with detailed traffic, emergency, weather, and driver information and entertainment. We're Houston's only driver navigation station. Get our app on TNCradio.live, Google Play, or Alexa.
ParaWorks is a new way for drivers to find high-paying job opportunities. You can claim these job offers to stack with your platform work and make your workday much more efficient and profitable. By uploading your gig work history and creating a ParaWorks profile, you'll unlock access to better, higher-paying driving gigs in your area. When a Para partner tells us they need drivers, we make sure you're the right person for the job, then notify you immediately. If you like it, it's yours. Your work history is your resume. Make it work for you.
Are you tired of being limited by the algorithms of the courier apps? Do you want to take control of your earning potential as an independent contractor? Hi, my name is Hannibal, and I run the Hannibal is Hungry YouTube channel. Tune into the Beyond the Algorithm live stream with my co-host Steve Rideshare Rodeo. In each episode, we share valuable insights and tips on how to achieve income beyond the courier apps and become a true independent contractor. Join us for practical advice and inspiring stories that help you know your worth and maximize your earning potential. Don't miss the Beyond the Algorithm live stream on the Hannibal is Hungry YouTube channel.
There we go. So yeah, guys, those are some commercials. So if you guys have a channel, Holly, I'm trying to think who else is in here that has not looked into one yet. Gig wise, you put something 15, 20 seconds together. Any of you guys really that have a channel that even if you don't think about it and you just want to do it, do it. We're happy to plug them. And I thought it was a perfect time because I'm not able to do that on most shows. But I'm going to run through some comments here. So let's see if we have, because I see that there's some questions. So I'm going to see how far back I can go. And so Costco. So Costco fuel prices. Yeah. I don't know how Costco compares to So Tim, I don't know how Costco compares to like what I was talking about and some of the other ones like that. Because I do know that they can be pretty good. Like Get Upside can do pretty good things. I don't know if like Costco Forever is all the time better or how it works. I just know that some people do pretty well with the Get Upside, but also everybody has an affiliate. I think it's one of those things where it just kind of fell by the wayside for me. So, so you premium grade. And I'm just trying to see where the questions are. What's up, Kevin Hawthorne? I didn't see you in there. And what's up, Gigan? How are you? I was just talking about Minnesota last night. There's some messed up laws going on there. What's up, Bordura? And what's up, Bud Soda? I don't know if you're still in here. Let's see. Josiah.
Thanks, Josiah.
Red. Yeah.
Yeah, Josiah's on the app.
What's up, Sassy? How are you? And where did I see? Oh, there's Holly's question. So Holly had a question too. Okay, so let's see. There's more. Okay, so Holly's asking that she put in her name as Holly and not as her channel. So is it not name and then handle?
Let me.
Like when you're signing up, is it just whatever the name is? That's going to be your handle. So be careful when picking it.
I see Holly in here as Holly Camp.
Right.
Holly, yeah.
But her channel's Savvy Shopper Delivers.
It's been a little while since I signed up, so I forget exactly. Holly, if you want to change it to Savvy Shopper Delivers, I will, let me know, and I will send that information along to Gary. Were you iOS or were you Android? And when this show is done, I will go and add you to the featured channel section on my page.
Oh, wait, here's Cody with some info. So he says, click edit profile, and then you can change your name.
And I love Cody. Everybody, Cody is your iOS. Okay, Cody's helping you do that. But I will talk to Gary about making you verified. We haven't gotten to that step yet, but we know that that's you.
Right.
And I want to say Cody has been a tremendous help. When we first started this, his name on there was the Lounge Statistician, and I said, that's an adorable name, but this isn't the lounge. So if you pick a name, whatever you want it to be. So he has decided to refer to himself as the producer of the show. And listen, I am not tech savvy. Cody fixes everything that I mess up. Everything. So Cody, I love you.
Not with the app though. You're talking about with
the channel.
Okay. Okay.
We've branched out to Facebook, Rumble, Twitch, DLive, Twitter, and he helps with all of that.
Okay. Yeah, you guys haven't done you did do Twitch. I was trying to think of what other platforms that you should be doing, but I guess you'll get to Facebook and Instagram because you should be plugging all of them, really.
Oh no, we are on Facebook. Sorry, the Instagram one we haven't gotten there yet.
Yep,
that's on the list. I forgot.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of these platforms I don't even like being on, you guys. But like, so people ask me about TikTok. Why are you on TikTok? I'm on TikTok to promote my website and my channel and what I do. I'm not on TikTok to have fun on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like I don't spend hours on TikTok. I get on there, I make a video. But yeah, so it says Cody needs a pay raise, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, you guys. This is all a great thing. I hope everybody here has it downloaded. I'm gonna download it after the show because I need to lock up my name before there's Aaron. Before Aaron locks it up on me right there. So yeah, if during the show there is a Rideshare Rodeo created, Cody, it's Aaron from Alaska, and you can just knock him out. when the show's over. What's up, Aaron? And yeah, I am. Is MySpace still around? I don't even know, Aaron. No idea. I think
I don't think MySpace is still around.
you know what? It's weird. I just haven't even typed it in and never checked. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, so I did want to. There was a couple things here going on. I don't know if. Let me see which ones might have time for to jump in, because some of this stuff is just really crazy that's going on. I guess I don't know if any of you missed last night's roundtable. I will. This is a quick, easy story, but I don't know if you saw this. There's always a ton of TikTok stuff that's like, is that person being for real? Is this trash? Is this just to get views? What's going on here? This one wasn't any of that. This was a real thing. The receipts, all the evidence is there. It happened. I don't know if you guys heard about the DoorDasher who took the $250 order for $1,300 worth of pizzas, 83 pizzas. And until the whole nightmare was over, didn't get any tip at all. And in the end, she got $50. So if you actually do the math, she got like 3.8% of the total. But I mean, to me, it's pretty ridiculous that somebody ordered 83 pizzas and put in a $0 tip.
Mm-hmm.
Like I normally don't pick on the customers, but I would actually like to have a sit down with that person. I would just like to know, like, hey, did you just miss the field, or are you literally like that? I mean, do you do that to people? Because that's just not okay. Hey, what's up, Necro? How are you? But yeah, so that's going. You guys, there's so much stuff going on in different states. I'm gonna have to do literally a live stream on it. Like, Massachusetts is going to the employee model. Connecticut going to the employee model. I mean, I don't know what's going on here, why they think it's such a good idea. I saw that the city of Harrisburg, Virginia, is starting their own rideshare service that like they were pointing out how, like, after the buses stop running in Harrisburg, a lot of people who work evenings can't get home. And so they're doing this, like, okay, well, what about rideshare? So they're leaving rideshare out. A lot of cities team up with rideshare. They're leaving rideshare out and saying, well, no, we're going to have our own rideshare that's going to be driven by city employees. So to me, that's a whole new thing. That could be a whole new problem for, again, every state is coming out with all these crazy things. I do like that Uber Eats is finally ending the virtual restaurant programs. So, like, if you're Denny's and you have 18 locations listed on the app for the same menu items, but they're all called different restaurants, Uber Eats is actually canceling those.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so if you have 13 restaurants listed at one address and it's a Denny's, and I think we're all aware that a lot of like Denny's operates like 3. One of them's like a grilled cheese place, has it by name. And then, what is the pizza one? The Chuck E. Cheese, the worst pizza in the world, tastes like wet cardboard. They actually call it something different so that people will order from it because they know it's Chuck E. Cheese. They're ending all that. They're making you go by your company name. No more DBAs. So I really love that, because I think that's just been insult to injury to the customers. And it hurts the drivers too, because a lot of these customers are like, oh, something new, grilled cheese house. And then they are like, well, wait a minute, that's just Denny's. What happened? And it's just that they created another entity. They just keep creating new businesses. I don't know how long it'll take the other apps, but I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see them taking them off. I don't know why it took so long. I don't know why they would allow everybody to DBA and have 42 restaurants operating out of one kitchen. They in my opinion, they took what a ghost kitchen was supposed to be. And because now, like, all these articles refer to them as ghost kitchens. I don't refer to those as ghost kitchens. I refer to them as, that's Denny's kitchen operating a bunch of businesses with the same exact food. To me, that's just trickery. You're just trying to show people a new option, and maybe they hate Denny's, so they order it, and it's just Denny's.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like, so okay. So Josh is here saying, yeah, I have one place. It has 7 ghost kitchens in it. You know, I don't know. There's a lot of these going on, and oh, and the other thing too. Do I still have that? I don't know if I have it pulled up here, but I don't know. Did you guys all see? If not, did you at least see the video of the? We watch a lot. Again, I sort through the ones that I even care about, because too many I question on TikTok and other things. But did you see the Amazon driver delivering through the police state? The police standoff. Oh my god, I got to see if I can pull this up. Kim had sent it to me, because you guys, it's hilarious. You got to watch the guy. I'm not about these videos all the time, but this guy walks in and he's like, literally, I'm gonna pull it up, but he's literally walking through, almost like, why are these cars parked so weird? And then he's just kind of walking. He's not looking, and then he gets to the police, and then he figures out, he remembers he needs to take a picture, and it's just like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Like, stop. You know, I don't know. It was, I thought Kim sent it to me. I hope it's here. Oh, here it is. So, let's see. Okay, so, we pause it. Okay, I'm gonna share this, you guys, because this is really hilarious. Really watch this guy, because this is
Oh my god, how many police cars is that?
right, and that's what's the funniest thing about this is
hard at work. In the midst of a standoff, he's going to deliver his package. I don't give a fuck. Go Amazon.
Amazon don't play.
Oh god.
Oh my god. Give us the package, bro. What are you doing? Amazon is this shit. Look, he's taking a picture. It made it there. When you serious about your work, what? Go Amazon.
that is the calmest Amazon driver I've ever seen, and I loved that he stopped and he's like, wait, I forgot the picture, and he's looking up over the hedge to take a picture, and the police officer's like, can I take that from you? He's like, sure, whatever, you know. Like, he's trying to walk by them all. I mean, I love this. We made a joke last night, like maybe somebody quickly ordered a 3D printer to make a gun. You know, like, I'm gonna need to get out of this somehow. So he's, you know, I don't know. I just found it amazing that meant, like you were saying, how many police were there? Why did they not just stop him? Like, hey man, if you can't notice, this is a police scene. And
I don't know how he missed that.
I don't know if he, last night people were saying, listen, no joke, or all jokes aside, like, if he doesn't make that delivery in a timely manner when you actually work for Amazon like that, they actually do hold that, like, they won't care there was a police standoff. They'll be like, you didn't make the delivery? That's not our problem. You're done, or whatever. And I think that these Amazon people I think with him it was just different, because if ever anybody goes back and watches that, he's got earbuds in, so I think he's just jamming his music, and then he's kind of like, wait, why are all these cars parked weird? And he's like, wait, it's the police. It's like, But yeah, so like there's no charge. Okay, let's get back to it for 1 second. So there's no charge for the app for Gig Wars. It's free on both platforms, right?
Currently on beta, it's free.
Okay.
When it is officially released on the Play stores, there will be a free version and a premium version. So, of course, the free version will have ads in it. And then the premium version will have a couple of other features. So, no ads. We've gone back and forth a little bit, and Gary knows best. Premium users, I think, are the ones who get a 10% merchandise discount from the Gig Wars official store. They also can do private wars where nobody will be able to join their war. So, like, say you and Kim want to have a war that nobody else can join, you can mark that private, but you have to be a premium user in order to mark private.
Okay.
And there are a few other features. I just don't remember exactly what they are.
Do you guys know what the cost is on the premium yet, or?
We're looking at $9.99 a month.
Okay.
Because at that price point, we can always, give a discount. It's just hard to go at one price and then try to raise it later if we find out that the server costs are too high. Because, I mean, there is a cost for us to run it.
I mean, Gary has some good ways of doing that. Like, he has his $9.99 a month or pay $60 for the year. He comes up with some creative ways, like, hey, you just want to pay for the whole year? I'll give you it for half price.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't.
I don't know that that'll be something. I'm not saying it will. He does things like that with all his other apps. So, I think that's always like, if people are like $9.99, those same people, but they're like, but I want to do it. I want to have all the options. They look at the year prices. Wow, it's half price. And if I pay it, I'll have it for the whole year fully available. So he's always been a fan of that. I believe in that too. I think that a big discount on something, because you can raise, but I'm with you. If you make it $4.99 and then it's really taken off and the servers start blowing up, people might just think, well, if you just get the more people you're getting at $4.99, you're going to be able to support it. It doesn't work that way. The server cost starts to outgrow the income level. So, I mean, to perform it right, you need to come out of the gate with a good price if you're planning on server growth.
Right. And then, $9.99, we don't get $9.99. The Play Store gets their cut first.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not, because it's beta, it's not, so when I download this after the show, where am I I'm iOS, but where am I going to, if I was Android, where would I be downloading it from if it's not in the Play Store?
The same link, Gary'sApp.com. It's both versions.
Oh, so Gary has it on one of his servers.
Yes.
Letting you know. Okay.
We're using Gary's server for both sides. Like, though he's doing iOS and she's Android, those two are working together as a team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like to see Gary on the iOS side. And when I said something, I was like, this is awesome. You did an iOS app. And he's like, why are you treating me like a baby? Like, I've never done one before. I'm working on iOS. I'm like, I know that. But I'm like, but you did this one. You just jumped in and said, I'll do it. And it's done. And it's made. It's like, because everybody has to remember, look, hey, yes. I mean, even small teams, Dumpling, even small teams like Para that aren't as small, they have many people, but Gary is Gary. Like, Gary responds to all of his, all of the questions about the app. That's Gary responding to everyone. Issues, Gary. Updates, Gary. Coding, Gary. All of his apps are on just him. He's a one-man show. So, I mean, it's pretty impressive what the guy does and how he keeps them all updated. And I've even seen people ask him, hey, why is, like, first of all, how many filters are there in the driver utility helper? Like 1,700. I've seen people ask for a filter that's not in there. Like, you don't have this, and it'll be the most random thing. Like, you really need that? And I've seen Gary be like, I'll put that in for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how many birds did I see while I was working today? Like, you don't need that in there, bro. Like, and Gary's like, I'll put it in there.
And another thing about the cost of the app too, I promise you this, like, unless you decide just not to work, when you're in a war, just in one war, your income will exceed that $10 and the fun that you will have.
Oh,
Like, there are days where if I were not involved in a war, I would not have went to work. But the fact that I was in this war, I was like, oh no, I gotta go. And I come home.
And I know it's beta, but the beta version isn't affecting the performance of the apps when you have it running at the same time.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, you know how some apps might slow down all of your apps.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I'm not talking about gig apps. Like I'm just saying if you have all your gig apps open and it's slow and you're sitting there and you're waiting for a good order and you're playing a video game, some video games might be eating up your bandwidth to the point you're not getting those offers in a real-time status. So they're really going to be a short offer to you. It won't look right. It might disappear quicker. Your apps might crash, but I know Gary streamlines all that stuff. I'm imagining the person who's doing the Android is the same.
No, I've had zero issues. Now, I'm running the Android version. No, I don't even know it's there until I open it up to input my data, like for my trip, like for whatever I just dropped off. Now, some people, they go in at the top of the hour and put in their information. I do it every single, I drop off 6:25. As soon as I drop it off and I know like what my final payout is, I open the app, put in my money, the miles I did on it, and how many drop-offs it was. Because, if you're on a stack, then it's going to be 2.
Right.
So I might be actually opening the app and inputting data more frequently than anybody else. I've had zero issues.
So there you go. Yeah. Gig Wars app runs perfect along with the gig apps. There you go. And no, Aaron, I do not have a BlackBerry. I don't even think they sell Blackberries. I don't know if they do, but I don't think that there's a BlackBerry anymore. If there is, I don't know who uses those. I did have a BlackBerry at one time, so don't date my age, man.
I had a BlackBerry. I did too.
But I have too fat of fingers to make it work, so I never could really do it with my thumbs. But yeah, so I mean, in beta mode, crashes with the apps. Anything so far? Nothing. No problem. I mean, somebody might have just accidentally closed, but no issues.
With the very first release, when the Gig Wars official team did their beta testing, it was a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there were a few issues. The app did crash for me maybe 2 or 3 times. Lady quickly figured out what the issue was and had it resolved before she even came out to work. So we started early that day, probably 9 o'clock. She didn't go out until 1 or 2 in her market. She had it resolved before she left her house.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah. So I guess I'm not expecting beta to last that long. Is it going to be when it goes out to the app store? Is it going to be the 2 versions right out of the gate, the pay and the free?
Yes.
Okay.
So Android version has been approved, and the iOS version was submitted the day Gary left Oklahoma, which was Tuesday. Okay. It was initially denied because he provided a incorrect screenshot. I think he showed a screenshot for a phone versus a tablet. For the tablet, I'm going to use the word version. That's probably not the right word. He needs to fix that, which I assume he's already done. We're anticipating that when he gets back to Oklahoma, it will be on the Play Store.
Huh?
So what, a week?
I think the Play Store is first of all, the Play Store is the easier of the 2, really. I mean, even Gary's always said that, like, that's pretty much you can submit. I've even had things on the Play Store when I was doing Rideshare, and I had one of those touch screen games in the back. It was Android, and the way we reported our earnings and stuff were all done through there. And you can just submit anything to you can put your beta version on the Play Store, really, because they don't really do the testing that's the problem with the iOS side, or not the problem, but that's the big stickler, is that you can, if you submit and you have coding error, or if you straight up did something that iOS doesn't like, they only give you one revision before you have to take, like, I can't remember what it is. It's like when you fail one of those tests for a state job or something, you gotta wait another 3 months before you can resubmit it. So when you submit iOS, it has to be right.
Yeah, no, I think he's good to go.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he won't submit it until it is. That's my point. But yeah, I mean, once those are, so I mean, if they're up by the end of the month, there will be a free and a full version. So on the just out of curiosity, so other than like the private wars, what other features might you lose on if you just had the free, or not lose, not have accessible to you?
Oh, challenge user. So that is a premium feature. So like you join, right? And I want to challenge you. You have to be a premium user to do that. Otherwise,
to create the challenge, or both people? No,
anybody can create a war. Anybody, whether.
But I meant, like, if so, you're premium. Let's say I'm free, and you want to create a war with me, and I'm on the free version. Can you still create that war?
Yes, I believe I can challenge you, but you can't challenge me.
Right. But I could still go through with it,
yes.
like, and be involved. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. But so like that's a cool thing, because for example, you, right? You're on there. A free user is not going to be able to come and say, hey, and say, message, Rideshare Rodeo and say, hey, I want to challenge you. These are the platforms I use. These are the terms. Would you like to go to war with me? Free user can't do that. Could only be a paid user approach you and do that. We need to give some perks to the people who are actually paying over those who are not, but we don't want the people who are not paying for the subscription to not have a good experience with the product either.
Right, because I mean, let's be honest, a lot of people absolutely have to try the free version before they're going to buy it.
Right.
Not everybody's around right now. In fact, it's 40, 50 people that are involved now. But when it's hundreds, I mean, these early days of the beta will be gone. And if they just download the app, they don't want to be like, what? I can't do anything on this? What is this?
Right.
So you're going to need to give them something, but you're also going to need to show them what that level bump does and why it's so much better. I mean, maybe it takes them out maybe you can't be in contests. There's a monthly giveaway, like a display cam or like a dash cam or things like that, where it's like, can't be involved in those, any of that kind of stuff where it's like, wow, well, actually I do want to get involved in those.
Right. I definitely want to, as we grow and there are more wars going on, like we're going to be hopping into your wars. Like we're just going to show up, and like, you're going to want that, because if we show up in your war, you're getting more, you have access to, like, somebody's getting that t-shirt or hoodie or whatever we decide to send, which, could be worth up to $50. You're going to be shout out. We're going to try to stream live some of it. I mean, we want to try to make that like a cool thing for those people.
Right. Yeah, I got to tell you, I mean, like, I fully love the idea. I think the part about, and again, I really want to caveat this with saying I do get very concerned about people working too many hours, because you really aren't, I mean, everybody should know this. You're really not at your best at 10 hours in.
Right.
You're,
No,
you're
you're
just,
not.
I don't care who you are. I mean, some people argue me on that one, like, no, I'm fine. Like, well, no, a Red Bull doesn't fix that.
Right. Yeah, we definitely don't want anybody doing anything stupid that
Yeah.
you wouldn't normally do.
Right,
Right.
but the fact that it will push you, I mean, it might still, I mean, it might take them to where they normally wouldn't. Like, well, I'm good with 30 hours. Maybe they'll start working 40 because they're into the competition, then realizing, wait, I'm making a lot better money.
Yeah, well,
And it's more fun, so I don't mind doing it.
we don't want you working 40 hours out of 40 hours. You know,
Yeah.
like 40 hours out of 4 days or
Yeah.
5 days.
Yeah, or like if like you missed 2 days and you came back and you're like, I'll just work 3 days straight.
No.
I mean, no. Like, don't do that, you guys.
Like if we saw somebody doing something like really stupid, right?
Yeah.
We would figure out a way to jump in and be like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
You know, like what is really going, like, are you sleeping? Anybody who watched episode 4, I think, with Token, Sly, Ghost Killer, and Bud Hampton, all the time I was in there like, what time did you start? What time did you end? Like, no, you have to sleep. You need to stop.
Right.
Safety.
I was gonna say maybe you could have like the officials could have a time or a timeout thing.
Yeah.
Where it's not just where you come in out of nowhere and screw up a war and say you're in timeout, but like where there's like a criteria sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you even go on to the live and you're like, okay, you got to answer 10 questions. You know, like, have you been driving for over 10 hours?
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I like that. You're right. Yeah.
You know, like make it fun. Make them do like the roadside test. Like go pull into an alley and do the, you know, count the alphabet and stand on one foot.
You know, but I also know, like, everybody's not built the same, right?
Yeah.
Like Bud Soda, for example, I could never do what he does. I would not be safe.
Well, I think I hate saying this because I never feel 100% sure, and I'm pretty tight with Bud Soda, but I feel like he's cut it back a bit. He used to be way too overboard, and he's still working a ton. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like he's at least like sleeping some. He used to not sleep at all. If those of you that don't know, like he used to really not sleep. Yeah, it was not a pretty thing, and always things came out of it. You know, like he'd crash, something would happen with his car. Big things might happen, where it's like, okay, all the money you just made working 15-hour days for 20 days now has to go into your car.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, there's some bad incidences that can come out of this. So, but if it just motivates you to work that little bit harder, put in those extra hours, I mean. You know, I ran a bar forever, so I mean, like, I'm used to crazy hours, working too much.
Right.
But I mean, like, you know, if we all know in this, especially in the gig landscape, as these pay amounts have, you know, slid a bit, and we're waiting for them to come back up for summer, and you know, will they, and what's going on with all these statuses and stuff. This kind of something like this would help motivate me to just stay out there, even when it's not the best. Because I can chat with somebody and kind of work through it and be like, because we all know sitting in your car alone sucks.
Yes.
I mean, especially when you don't have work, when you're just waiting on a good offer from something, you're multi-apping and you're like, seriously, nothing? I got nothing.
Right.
I mean, it can be very depressing. So this is the kind of thing where I'm all for it, because I think that this allows you to go, oh my God, I'm getting nothing. And then the other person's like, me neither. And at least you have somebody that you can relate to on this.
Right. And so, like, we would say something like, do you have a zone next door that you can try? And that might motivate you to do that. Like, I don't typically work breakfast, but heck, if I'm in a war, I've left my house at 8 o'clock in the morning, where I wouldn't normally leave until 10:30. Those of you who watch me, I leave home at 10:30. I get my coffee and then I go. But I'll go work at 8 o'clock, and I've I learn a couple of new things. That's another thing too. We are learning from each other things that we just didn't know. Like I use a little technique, or used to before I had the top dasher status. I call it dash and stay, where I would log on in a neighboring zone, but I wouldn't leave my zone at all. And I'm getting orders. Some try that and it works for them. Randall Barnes, he was hanging out with us. I think it was in episode 2. He got an offer. I believe it was Instacart, and he was a little bit overwhelmed. Wouldn't be the right word, but the offer itself was, a little anxiety provoking. And he was like, "Oh my God!" And we're like, "Randall, go do it. We're right here with you. We got you. You need help? We're right here." He did that order. He came and he was like, "Oh my God, I did the order. It didn't take that long. It wasn't as bad as I thought." And he's become like a shopping genius.
Right.
Since then. So
yeah. Money motivates people, and having other people who are motivated to make money around you, it all works. So
he wasn't even in the war.
Yeah. Yeah, but just being around the environment though, is just helpful too. But so before I sign us out here, because I do have a clip of what the new show I think it's 5 minutes that I'm going to sign out with today from the new Money Hungry show that'll be on the Rideshare guy that Kim and Zach are doing. I do have a clip of them doing their first thing. And if those of you that don't know Kim and Zach well, I know both of them very well, extremely well personally. And this is going to be a very interesting show because unlike Sergio and Chris for Show Me the Money, who are very aligned, Kim and Zach see everything totally opposite. So this is going to be a very interesting show because they're not going to be arguing, but they're both debaters. So we're going to see a lot of, no, this is why I would do this, and this is what would happen. And so it's going to be interesting because they're both very big overachievers and very competitive. So it'll be interesting to see their two sides come at this. But before we sign off, Red, what's the elevator pitch, or what's the final words that you want to give to people on Gig Wars? This is your time.
I would say come by, check it out. It's really fun. Whether you download the app or not, just hang out with us. It's a lot of positive people. We have a great time, and each and every one of us make money. If you can't learn from us, maybe we'll learn something from you. I do hope everybody downloads the app. It's going to be amazing.
And so if somebody in the chat could throw in and make sure you write Gig Wars official so that people know what the link is, but put in Red's link to her channel, because we already put in the Gary Middleton link to download the app, but we should probably put in the link too for the channel to let people who are not familiar go over and see that. That would be great. I know that everybody here has a handle. Gary yells at me about that all the time. Then I just give everybody a wrench, but it's the only way it can be. But you guys, Red, thank you for coming on today. I'm really glad we got to deep dive this because I feel like there's a lot to it, and I feel like there's a lot coming, and I learned today from it too, So I'm going to download it as soon as this is over.
I thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, no, this was great. I love talking about it, and I'm actually going to become part of it, and that way I'll challenge Kim. We'll see what happens. So I won't challenge Kim overall because
excellent. I look forward.
If I can use my curry, sure. But thank you so much for coming on, and you guys,
hey, you guys are allowed to make. You guys make your own rules. Everywhere can be different.
Yeah. So you guys download the app, but check out. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Ceci. Ceci just put it up. So you guys, it's in there. Check that out. If you haven't checked it out, or if you're watching this on the replay, make sure you check that out. And that's the starting point to getting to the app, which is Gary'sApps.com. And thank you again, Red. I really would recommend that everybody stick around and watch this piece because it's kind of interesting to see the two of them discuss this. It's about DoorDash, and it's two different takes on a DoorDash setting. And so with that, I will sign off. Oh, wait, if I can. I don't know. Here we go. Okay. So, Red, thank you again. I'm going to run this, you guys, and when it's over, it'll sign out, and that'll be the end of the show. And Tom, Gary, and I will all see you back here next week on Driver Nation. So thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Steve. Bye, guys.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Money Hungry. My name is Zach.
And I'm Kim.
Today, we're going to cover a wide range of topics, ranging from the weird to the controversial.
Speaking of controversial, so we're going to get right into the topic of today. So I got an order on DoorDash the other day that I actually thought I would share with you guys, because a new feature that is basically for the driver and for the customer rolled out in my area. And I actually wanted to see if you guys had it roll out yet to your area as well. So I got an order the other day, and it was regular Diamond order, which, by the way, Diamond just came to my area like 2 weeks ago, so it's new, but $7.75, no ad sign, so it was supposed to stay $7.75. So got the delivery, dropped it off, and it went up to $12.75. I'm like, hello, that's awesome. And I'm like, where did that come from? But I wasn't gonna knock it because it's $12.75. Right after drop off, I get the text message saying I got an extra $5 tip. So the customer was able to add on a tip after delivery. Well, I guess maybe it was before delivery, considering I knew what the payout was when it came, but maybe it was after they actually placed the order, which I think is weird altogether. But I was happy I got an extra $5. Who wouldn't be happy about $5? But I'm like, ooh, this is a new feature, one of probably many tests that DoorDash does. But as a driver, I was happy about it. Have you seen this in your area yet?
So, okay, I've got some thoughts about this. My market was actually one of the first in the entire country to get the Diamond Zone. I got it months before most markets did. So I got the chance to reset my acceptance rate, which they never ended up actually resetting my acceptance rate. They just tossed me into the program and said, best of luck. So let's analyze this order quickly. So it is 2 items, 1.5 miles for $7.75. I mean, obviously that's not a bad order to begin with, right? And I probably would have taken that, assuming that it's not some really slow restaurant. But I've got some thoughts about the tip after delivery, and I want to run my ideas past you. Now, I want to talk for a moment about what is going on in Baton Rouge. Have you heard about this?
I semi-heard about it, but I want to learn more.
So the customers in Baton Rouge are only being given the option to tip once the order is and not pre-tip anymore. And I've talked to several drivers in Baton Rouge, and they say this is completely killing their income. Like tips are just not a thing anymore. And what DoorDash has been doing is they've been adding like $5 and $6 peak pay to kind of make up for the fact that there's no tips. But realistically, how long is it before that $6 peak pay becomes $5, and then $4, and then $3, so on and so forth?
But I'm thinking from a business perspective that to me from DoorDash, like that makes no sense. Why would you not want the customer to tip? Because it's not coming out of their bottom line. It's coming out of the customer's pocket, where DoorDash is now throwing peak pays at people and at drivers to get them delivered. So they're now losing money opposed to the customer actually paying the tip. Like business wise, like to me, that's not good business.
So I see it differently. I'm assuming they go for it, right?
Yes.
That is expensive, right?
It is.
You're going through and you're selecting your items that you're ordering, and you're like, okay, it's only like $22. You know, I'm going to feed me and my kid for $22, right? But then you get to the checkout screen and it's like, oh wow, that's not actually $22. It's like $43. Mm-hmm. So in my opinion, what DoorDash is trying to do is limit the sticker shock with adding additional cost to the customer with tips. So they're like giving them they're giving them the don't feel bad, you can do it after option, knowing that most customers probably aren't going to. So I think that this is not beneficial for DoorDash for sure, because I think a lot of orders are just going to sit now.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not beneficial for drivers, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, I like to be positive as much as I possibly can, but I can definitely see the downfall in, like, I feel like it's the age-old debate, customer versus driver. I feel like we're always, kind of debating each other. The customer who, they're going to tip whatever they want to tip, even if they don't tip at all. Like, they're still going to do whatever they want to do. They're not going to be okay with someone forcing them to tip or a specific amount. No one likes to be forced to do something, but on the same time, it's now forcing the driver really not to get a tip either. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of no tip prior. I just think it could end in a disaster, not for the customer. The customer's just not spending the money, but for the driver, you can really lose some major income, especially if, we're all in this to make money. We're all in this to do, whether it's full-time, part-time, like our goal is to make money.
We're not Meals on Wheels.
Yeah.
So, a moment ago, you said it's the classic driver versus customer. I feel like that perfectly brings us into our next subject.
Yeah, it is a very good segue.